The first one you know is what? Don't believe a word I say. Why would I suggest that? That's right. Whose experience can I come from? Just my experience. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it wrong. It doesn't make it true, and it doesn't make it false. It just makes it my experience. All I can let you know, however, is that the principles you're going to learn totally transform my life, and I believe will transform your life too. They are very, very powerful. What's the word? Powerful principles. Do they work in the real world? Well, all I can tell you is my experience. When I live these principles, my life is amazing. When I don't and I forget, I notice my life going downhill quickly. That's all I can tell you. Fair enough? What's important here is what happens for who? For what happens to you. So how many of you be willing to be open and try the material and principles out in your life? Yes? And whatever works for you, you keep on what? Doing. And whatever doesn't work, you're welcome to what? Raise your hand if you're willing to be open. Okay. Anybody not? We'll really see here. Okay. Now, as for rule number 2, how many like to learn faster? How many like to remember more of what you learn? Research shows the key is that is what? Who can tell me? Yes, involvement, absolutely. There's a saying that says this: what I hear, I tend to forget. What I see, I tend to remember. But what I do, I understand. Yes or yes? Very good. How many of you are willing to play at 100%? Okay, anybody not? Say a-ho. Ready? A-ho. Now, once again, I want to remind you of the 3 most dangerous words in the English language. What are they? Very good. I know that. Now, how do you know if you know something? That's right. If you live it, you know it. If you don't live it, then you heard about it, you read about it, you sure can talk about it, but you don't obviously know it. Does that make sense? So, when your mind says, I know that, what's it trying to do? Protect you from what? From change, that's right. It wants to keep you in your what? In your comfort zone. Why? Because it's safe there. Now, here's the problem with the comfort zone, in case you haven't recognized this so far. The problem with the comfort zone is this: it's not necessarily good. It's just familiar. You understand? It's just familiar. And raise your hand if you've ever heard this saying. See, to the mind, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. True or true? So it doesn't mean your life is going fantastic just because your mind tries to keep you the same. It just means it's familiar, and that's what it likes. All right. So when you hear your mind, or if you hear your mind say, I know that, simply use the 4 magic words, what are what? Thank you for sharing, and pay even closer attention. How many people are willing to do that? Say a-ho. Ready? A-ho. Anybody not? Great. Okay. So let's get the foundation of the program together here. The definition of the warrior that we use is this definition. Read it with me, please. One who conquers... One more time, twice as loud. One who conquers oneself. So what does that mean, to conquer yourself? How can you conquer you? That connotates that there's 2 of you. So how is this possible? Well, the fact is that there is 2 of us, or at least so it seems. We have what we're going to call one part of us known as our true self. What's it called, please? True self. And another part of us that we're going to be knowing as our, what is it? False self. Another word for it is conditioned mind. What is it? Conditioned mind. Thank you. Now, where do most people base their lives? In their true self or their false self? In their false self, their conditioned mind. Where does the enlightened warrior live? True self. And one of the most important things you can ever learn is the difference between the 2. Your true self is your original self. What self? It's who you came into the world as. Your false self, or your conditioned mind, listen closely, is who you learned to be. Who you what? So basically, we come into the world as this empty cup, an empty cup. And as a baby, we come in there and we're basically open and we're accepting and we're loving and we're spontaneous and we're very peaceful. But then we begin the process of learning how to live and fit into the world. Yes? So we learn all these wonderful things. We learn these things and these things and these things and these things. And we learn this and don't do this and don't do this and don't do this and that can hurt you and be careful of that. Yes or yes? We learn all this stuff here. We get filled up with what? Information. What's the word? Now we learn in several ways. The first one, of course, is based on our experience. And actually this starts in the very first few days of our lives. You know, we're feeling hungry, we're a little uncomfortable, and we're not sure what to do. So we start with goo goo, goo goo. Not much happens. Then we start getting a little more upset. Not much is going on. Finally, it's and all of a sudden we get all the attention we can possibly handle. We get picked up, we get loved, we get fed, we get everything. And then we go, wow, that worked. And we write that down in our operations manual of life. It says, when I want attention, the louder I scream, the faster they come. Very good thing to notice, and we file it. Yes or yes? How many people know people who are still using the same strategy, even though they are 5 feet taller and 30 or 40 years older? Yes?